Good afternoon. Today we'll be discussing two different ways of adding three-digit numbers. The first way that I'm going to talk about is called the old school, which is how I have been taught. And the next way will be called the new school, which is how students are taught today. Before we can start, we have to look at what's called the place value system. And in the place value system, we know that there is a ones column, a tens column, and a hundreds column. Now when we work the old school, we'll be working right to left. So we'll start in the ones column, which is 4 plus 1 is 5 ones. 3 plus 2 is 5 tens, or 50. And 2 plus 1 is 3 hundreds. So for a grand total of 355. Now let's look at the new school way. The only difference with this is we'll be working from left to right. We're still going to work in columns of hundreds and tens and ones, but we'll do them in that order. So let's look in the hundreds column first. Yes, we have 200 and 100 added together to make it 300, so we'll put our 3 here. We have 0 tens and 0 ones. So we'll write the digit 300 there. And then below that, in the next row, we're going to work in the tens columns. So we have 3 tens and 2 tens to make it 5 tens with 0 ones, or 50. And then in the ones column, we'll work with 4 plus 1 is 5 ones. And then down below, for our final answer, we'll have in the hundreds column a 3, tens column of 5, and the ones column the 5. For also a grand total answer of 355. So does it really matter if we add them from right to left or left to right? No, not really. It just is about where we write our answers so that everything lines up when you add everything down below. The next piece that students will be adding to their knowledge will be how do you add a three-digit number and using regrouping. So once again, think place value. So in the old school way, we would work right to left. We'd start in the ones, move to the tens, and then the hundreds. So let's do that before we go to the new school way. And you will see that the only difference really is where we carry, which is now called regrouping. So where do we put that regrouping when we need to? So in the ones column, we have a 7 plus a 4, which is 11. So our 1 goes here, and we need to regroup the 1 in the tens place here. So now we have a 1 and a 1, which is the same as saying 11. 1 10, 1 ones. Now let's go into the tens column. And in our tens column, we have 5 tens and 6 tens, plus the 1 10 that we regrouped, which is 12 tens. So we're going to put the 2 here and regroup the 1 into the hundreds column, because 10 tens is the same as saying 100. So in the hundreds column, we now have 3 hundreds plus 2 hundreds plus the 1 that we regrouped for 6 hundreds. So our answer is 621. Now in the new school way, it's really not that much difference. Like I said, it's just about where do we regroup and where do we write that number when we do regroup. So starting from left to right, we're working in the hundreds column. So we have 300 plus 200 is 500. So we're going to write our 500 down below. 0 in the tens column, 0 in the ones, because we have 0 to work with. And then we're going to switch into the tens column, and we'll have 5 plus 6, or 5 tens plus 6 tens, which is 11 tens. So we're going to put 1 here and regroup our other one in the hundreds column, just like we did over here. And then we have 0 ones to work with. So we have the number 110. Now let's work in the ones column. We have 7 plus 4, which is 11. So we're going to put our 1 here. And in 11, we have 110. So we're going to put 110 in the tens column. Now we're just going to take our rows or our columns and add down. So in this column, in the hundreds columns, we have 5 plus 1 is 6. In the tens column, we have a 1 plus a 1, which is 2 tenths. And in the ones column, we have 1 plus nothing, which is 1, for a grand total of 621. Now those two answers are the same. Like I said before, the only difference is we regroup down here versus up here. And students can kind of see this apart. This also helps out with doing mental math. So if students can know, we can pull the hundreds apart and then pull the tens apart and the ones apart and then quickly add those together, you'll find that mental math will come a little easier for those students. So let's do a quick recap of what we looked at. So our traditional standard old school way, we added in our ones and then our tens and then our hundreds to get this answer. And then when we looked at our new school way, well, we still added in each one of those columns, but we started at the other side. We started in the hundreds and we thought 300, and then we thought 5 tens or 50, and then we thought 5 fives, and then we added 3 plus 50 plus 5 together to get 355. When we did the regrouping down below here, in the traditional old school way, we started in the ones, we grouped into the tens, and then added that, and then regrouped into the hundreds, and ended up with 621. And in our new school regrouping, we started in our hundreds, we ended up with 500, and then we thought how many tens we had, and we had 11 tens or 110. And then we thought how many ones we had, which is 11 ones, and we added 500 plus 110 plus 11. We ended up with 621. So typically it doesn't really matter if we do it old school or new school. Our answers will always come out the same. It's just making sure we put our information in the correct spots. So I hope, parents, this was able to help you work with your child today. And I hope that your child is having a wonderful year. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. And I think if your child takes this seriously, I think they'll do well. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.